right, we are here with Chris Roberts, Kane, and myself. Now, this game has a lot of...
My sunglasses on too?
No. Yeah, you go ahead.
Go ahead if you really want to.
Okay, we're just kidding.
All right, so this has been a crazy ride, I imagine. You guys went the crowd, funding route. What is the craziest thing that's happened through the entire development process that you can tell us about on camera?
Like, first of all, we never expected it to be the size it was, and then we didn't expect that, like, the community would be like so. I mean, now we have people send gifts all the time to the offices, right? Cases of alcohol and chocolates and pizza. I think they want us to all like either get alcohol, be alcoholics or get diabetes or something. No, I mean, it's just fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys, we had an event on Thursday night for the dogfighting module that we'll be pushing out in about 3 or 4 weeks. And I mean, just the energy of it. I mean, people like this whole thing where you put a helmet on as you're getting in the ship, and everyone's chanting helmet, helmet, and then I crashed, and then like I had to do it again, and they're like helmet again. And anyway, it was kind of fun.
Well,
so I mean, just generally the energy. I mean, it's kind of hard to say just because it's so different than I've ever done games. I mean, because we have backers or fans sort of show up at the office, and like, hey, I want to check things out, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's kind of fairly crazy.
What's your personal favorite ship at this moment?
Well, the Constellation's the ship that is my favorite ship. So it's mainly because I like the idea of the multi-crew ships and being able to, like, I'm there with a few of my friends and like, okay, you get in the turret and you get down and fly the little sort of snub-nosed fighter, and the idea of getting up and walking around the ship while you're flying around, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
you got a question?
No, we were just talking about this. Was it last week or something? That's my ship. I got that ship. I'm like, I want that one right there. Same exact reasoning. And then we were talking about it. He was like, can I just walk around? Can I be your gunner? And I'm like, we'll see what we can do. But yeah, no, I'm very stoked.
Yeah, we'll see how well you can shoot.
Yeah.
All right. So, what is your favorite old school game of all time, and why?
Like arcade game, and I mean, like I have Gallagher in my office.
Let's say old school PC game.
Old school PC game.
You can't say one of your own games.
We know
no.
That wouldn't be fair.
I would say Command and Conquer probably. So Command and Conquer I played the hell out of when it came out. Like, it sort of sucked down a huge amount of productivity in our
first one or Red Alert?
No, the very first one.
Yeah.
The Westwood one, the original one that sort of kicked. I mean, they did Dune before, but Command and Conquer was sort of the one that kicked off the whole RTS stuff. And it was sort of the first one that like had, I mean, it was over the line at the time, but it was sort of the first kind of multiplayer experience. But Command and Conquer was great. I mean, I've got a lot. I mean, I loved all the LucasArts adventures.
Yeah.
So played the hell out of those. What other stuff did I play a lot of? I mean, obviously I liked a lot of the, Wolfenstein and Quake and Doom and all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's a funny story on the Wolfenstein side was that, John Romero used to work at Origin Systems.
Right.
And he actually sent a build of Wolfenstein before they went out on shareware on it to us at Origin, and head of product development, Dallas Snell, gave it to me and said, what do you think of this? And I'm like, this is awesome. You talk to him, let me do a deal with him. We should publish this.
Yeah.
And Dallas did. And then like afterwards, I'm like, Dallas, hey, we should have done something here. This is cool. And then the Wolfenstein was the shareware, and then they sort of went on to do Doom. But you could tell there was a bunch of talent back then. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and fair number. Like what else? Descent was a fun game, like a shooter. 6 Degrees of
I just reinstalled that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You can do a lot. So I think dogfighting will have, because we're allowing you to not just do the normal flying around, you can sort of decouple your flight, so you have the ability to strafe up and down and go back, and also change your orientation around. So I'm going to be quite interested to see how it affects people's combat when they're playing it.
I love the fact that you've done an MMO with real-time combat. That's really nice.
Definitely. I don't like the click and roll of dice.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited about it. I haven't been really excited about MMOs in the past, but I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, well, I just like the idea of a big sort of shared experience. So kind of like what I like was that sort of feeling. Like, I mean, Descent was a good example. As I was saying, Command and Conquer, back, we're game developers, so we all had like fast LAN and fast computers, so we could all play these things. The experience of playing with like all your friends or workmates and against them, and it was fun. So I sort of like the cooperative aspect of stuff, and so there's definitely stuff we're doing in Star Citizen, like the multi-crewed ships, to try and get people to play together to do things.
In Star Citizen, what is your just favorite element so far that you guys have come up with?
For me, it's like I was talking about the multi-crewed. I mean, the multi-crewed ships, and then we're taking them to a level, even beyond what I talked about the Constellation. Like the big capital ships will have all these different stations that you can run. So it's like a whole game in itself in terms of like running engineering, running your communications, running weapons control, running sort of the air combat operations.
Right.
And so I just sort of like the idea of these big functioning ships that have all these parts that work, that have systems that you can turn off and on and tweak and control to sort of make the whole function entity. Because previously most space games, the ship just kind of does its stuff, right? And here you actually get in the hood and you get to sort of operate it on different levels. So you run a fighter and it's running a fighter like a fighter was. You run a bigger ship, you have to fly it differently, you have to operate it differently. You got to have either friends or sort of NPCs to help you operate the thing. And I just sort of think that's a level of detail that hasn't been in this space game that I've always wanted, and so that was kind of one of the #1 design goals. And so that's so I'm Dogfight V1 is going to be cool, but it's just a single ship, seater ships. Dogfight V2 is the one where the multi-crewed ships come in, and that's the one I'm the most excited for, because that's the one where we'll see people, like teams of people, operate a bigger ship maybe against a group of people flying smaller ships. And I think that'll be super cool.
It's going to force people to work in a way that they haven't really worked before, and especially working together.
No, totally. I mean, I play Battlefield. There's a certain aspect that I like, that you and your squad of 3 of your other friends, and and sometimes you get a tank, and someone's the gunner, and so on. But it's still not. It doesn't feel like I'm really in that tank or I'm doing all this stuff, and so that's kind of the goal of what we're doing with Star Citizen, is to really make you feel like you're in that ship and hopefully working as a team.
I mean, let Kane jump in with a question, because you've got your Constellation class. So
I've got my Constellation, and I've actually got two questions. One is about Star Citizens, the other one's actually something completely unrelated. So with Star Citizen, I know you've been working with the Oculus, and what kind of elements do you expect that will add to flying these ships and operating inside it? I mean, the immersion on using the Oculus in the game.
Well, I mean, we actually we had an event on Thursday. We had an Oculus HD there. You could have seen it. But basically, you wear the Oculus, and it's completely controls your headlock. When the Crystal Cove comes on, we'll also add the full positional tracking. But I mean, it'll operate like you would imagine it to. So wherever you full look. I mean, we have a lot of stuff that's sort of based on your look kind of controls where your gimbaled guns are and all the rest of the stuff. So obviously the Oculus in that case is pretty useful, right? So otherwise you need to sort of control your head look to position where your guns are. And the Oculus is just natural, because you'll be looking up and you'll see it. It's also much easier to sort of track targets when you look around. So I mean, it works. I mean, it's a pretty natural thing for something like Star Citizen.
And my other question is completely unrelated to games in general, and do you have any plans to make any more films or anything in the works that you might be able to mention to us?
So not at the moment. I mean, I probably will in the future do some film stuff, but I'm so busy doing this, and this is quite a lot of, it's a big commitment.
Oh, yeah.
And there's about a few years left to get it even to the point where I'm like, thinking, okay, I could maybe even take a breather, because it's a whole, big persistent universe. There's a lot of tech to get done, and then even after that, I want to sort of have the universe, and the fun bits once the full persistent universe is in there, and then seeing how that grows and adding more content and riffing off what the players are doing in the universe. So I don't even have any bandwidth right now to think of anything but Star Citizen.
Sad, but awesome. No, it's great. I mean, Star Citizen's going to be amazing, and you actually made me think of something else I want to ask about the expanding the universe. And I think I read one of the updates that made comment that they're going to be player discovered.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of it. So we're going to let players. There'll be jump points that players can discover. They navigate them successfully. They get to name them, and we're going to let most of the expansion of the universe be sort of driven by play, rather than us saying, oh, there's a new star system and this is how you get to it. We're going to put it out there, and then there will be a player that finds it, and then that's how it'll be sort of discover the universe organically. So I just sort of think it's cool. I mean, there's a big focus to make sure that player actions become part of the universe's lore and history. So not just discovering a jump point, but also whatever it is, taking down a pirate lord or whatever, all these different things that there's going to be achievements essentially for players that will allow them to sort of become part of the Galactopedia, which I think will be really cool, because if players sort of feel like they're part of this galaxy, then I don't know, it's just a high level of investment and immersion.
Excellent.
Awesome. Oh, Chris Roberts, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank
really
you guys.
looking forward to the game.
Thank you guys for backing, supporting. Much appreciated.
It's a pleasure.
Everyone out there.